Hi there, Warriors, and welcome back to the Uruguayan Heroes YouTube channel. It's been a few months, but today, 28 days before the Copa America starts, I thought it was a good time to look at the squad that Uruguay, in my opinion, should pick and bring to the USA to fight for number 16. And this, like I said, is my squad. So there are certain players there, which I do believe Bielsa will not pick, but I believe they should be there. And I will obviously substantiate that with hopefully legitimate arguments, but maybe you will be the judge of that. And please let me know after you watch this video what your opinion on my squad is, and also bring up your own squad, bring up your own players that you believe should be there. So yeah, do that please, because we want to get the discussion going. And if you want, like the video and subscribe for more, because we're going to do many live streams in the upcoming month or two with Alessandro Vigna, who's been on here on many occasions, and others as well. So yeah, let's just get started. Like I said, this is not a prediction of what Bielsa will do, but it's what I believe is the right squad, and it will give us the best chance to be victorious for the 16th time. Okay, so goalkeepers, Franco Israel, unfortunately injured, so will not be there. Muslera, he's retired from national duty, and also he hasn't been part of the national team for, I think it's 18 months now, after the Alonso came in 2022. So it's Sergio Rochette, in my opinion, he's obviously going to be there. Santiago Mela is obviously also going to be there. And in my opinion, the goalkeeper, who I believe should be the third choice, is Ignacio de Aroa Barrena. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. So many people I've seen, they've called for Randall Rodriguez. And I also think Bielsa will probably go with him, but I don't think it's the right decision. Randall is a talented goalkeeper, but he's hardly played since the Under-20 World Cup, where he did very well. But he's hardly played for Peñarol. When he played for Uruguay Under-23 in the Pre-Olímpico to qualify for the Olympics, he was far from convincing. And Diarra Barrena is one of the only goalkeepers of Uruguayan origin in Europe. And he's actually doing well for Aruca, mid-table side. Especially last season, he did really well. Saved I think like 3 or 4 penalties. And overall, he's a good goalkeeper. So for me, he will be my third choice. Moving on to the central defenders, Araujo, Josema, and also Sebastian Cáceres. I think everybody agrees on them. So just to clarify, what I've done is all the green names, they are the names that I believe like 95 to 100% will agree on these names. And the orange ones are players that are more up for debate, and which I will discuss in length or in more detail in this video. So back to the central defenders, Araujo, Josema, and also Sebastian Cáceres. He's proven himself. He's repaid the trust that Bielsa gave him at the start of the qualifiers, and he's proven many people wrong, myself included. And I'm happy for that, because he's done really well and he will be there. Fortunately, it seems like he is recovering well from his injury, and it seems very realistic that he will be back for the Copa and part of the squad. Another central defender who also can play at right back, who I think should be there, I think Bielsa will also choose him, by the way, is Bruno Mendes. He's like I said, versatile, can play right back, center back. He's a bit of a more of a traditional defender, aggressive. He's quite dominant. Leader capabilities. He was the Under-20 captain a few years back. I like the character. I think he's also quite talented, and I think he's a good squad player to have. Sebastian Coates is one like the Aroa Barrena, who I believe will not be part of the squad, but I think he should. I think his career for Uruguay has been, very unfortunate, in terms of there could have been so much more from him. And it's not like he hasn't done it. It's more like he has not received the opportunities that he actually deserved. Because after a tough period in England, when he didn't really, he wasn't able to adapt to Liverpool, to the first team there, and also at Sunderland he struggled a little bit. He went to Portugal and he actually reinvigorated himself, and he became one of the best defenders in Portuguese football. And he's now the leader and captain of Sporting. He has been for many years now, and he's just won this Portuguese league for the second time in 4 years. Will he start? For me, he won't start. Like 2 years ago, 4 years ago, he would have started for me for sure. Certainly when Godin was on the way down, I think it was very unjust to him that he wasn't getting the regular starting spot like Godin did. Because at that moment, Coates was on the top of his game and he was absolutely on a better level than Godin at that moment in time. But now, being 33, when you look at the other options like Araujo and Josema especially, I think he will not start. But he still should be part of the squad for me. Because when you look at, for example, a scenario when you have to hold a lead, or when you get a man sent down, there's few players that can command the box, that can clear everything out of his way, that can be the domineering force in the back, like Coates. He can do that. And I also think he's less slow and less moving like a truck, no agility than some people make it out to be. Um, he's just a good defender, a really good defender, and also someone with great leading abilities, leader abilities. So I think he should be there. Moving on to the fullbacks, I think two fullbacks, they're clear, they're fixed, secure. Bielsa will certainly choose them, and I think most of us, or basically all of us, will agree. Arnaiz Hernandez and Matias Oliveira. Hernandez on the right. This is a position where Uruguay lack depth. I mean, Mendes and Araujo can fill in, but they're not pure right backs. Hernandez is the even as well. he's natural. He's like originally he was a midfielder, but he does the job there. And when I look at backup, I think Giovanni Gonzalez is the right backup. He's had a good season for Mallorca, been an integral part to that team that went to the Copa del Rey final. So I think he deserves to be there. Left back, Matias Oliveira. I think he's the best left back Uruguay have. And secondly, I would go for Matias Vinha. I'm not fully convinced with him, but I think Bielsa will certainly go with him. And I also think that he is ahead of Piqueres, Olaza, and Espino, for example. So I think he's probably ahead of them in the pecking order. And yeah, I think he should be in the squad. Midfield, I mean, many of them obviously choose themselves. Valverde, Bentancur, Ugarte, De La Cruz, and even Dallas Caeta. Although his role in this Uruguay team is less pronounced or less profound than the others, but still, the qualities he has on the ball, the natural ability, he's up there with the best in this Uruguay team. Unfortunately, he doesn't really fit very well in Bielsa's system. He's not a pure winger, but he's also not a midfielder in the mold of Bielsa's liking. So yeah, when it comes to the most advanced role in midfield, Bielsa will probably prefer De La Cruz, who perhaps is less capable in inventing play. In spreading. In spreading really creative passes, getting people one-on-one with a defense cutting pass. Although he can do that, but I just say not as good or not to the same extent as De La Cruz. But what De La Cruz is he is way more hardworking, way more industrious, way more dynamic, way more capable of delivering the high pressure throughout the game than De La Cruz is. But having said all that, for me, he's a lock. He should be there, and he will be there, I think. Then we move on to the other two. So let me start with Torreira. If you follow the account, the Uruguay Heroes account, I mean, you will know that I like Torreira. I think he's a personal favorite of mine. But the argument or the fact that he's in there is not based on that argument. The argument is clear. You have Ugarte, who is Uruguay's number 6. He is the number 1 central defensive midfielder. But when you look at the backup, who can do the best? Who is the best central defensive midfielder besides Ugarte? For me, it's really easy. It's really easy. There's no player better at that role than Torreira is. And the debate seems to be that he is not in the profile of Bielsa, and perhaps that is the case. I mean, Bielsa is the manager. I mean, I'm just someone on YouTube, on Twitter, just voicing our opinion. So I'm not saying that he is wrong, but Torreira, for me, when it comes to this spot, he can do the job. He's obviously a great ball recoverer. You know, he's really good at breaking up the play, but he's also more than that, and we know that. I mean, we've seen him for Sampdoria. We've seen him in the Uruguay shirt. He's a really competent passer of the ball. Um, so for me, he should be there. Will he be there? No, I'm almost certainly he will not be there because, like Coates, like Darwa Barena, he's not been called up to any Uruguay squad ever since Bielsa took over as Uruguay manager. Other options, Emiliano Martinez, you can argue he should be there instead of Torreira. I don't believe Martinez playing in Denmark, not really succeeding in Brazil at Red Bull Bragantino should be considered. I mean, once again, he is someone that Bielsa seems to like. I don't think he should be there. Matheus Vecino, he probably most of his Uruguay career he's been played in a more of a holding midfield position. I don't believe that's the right position for him. If you want to play him box to box in the holding midfield position when you're guarding defense. I don't think he spots danger well. I think his reading of the game is not great. I think he's erratic in possession, very wasteful. So I don't believe he should be there. When you can consider him is at the eighth, so the box to box position. But I believe that Salazar is a better option in this regard. And Salazar is probably more of an advanced midfielder, although he can do both. He can play more holding, box to box, as a pure attacking midfielder. I would still go with Salazar as this substitution to Fagino. And you just have to look at the trajectory of both players. You know, Salazar, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, played for the Uruguay under 20 side, had talent, but didn't really break through, didn't really grab the tournament, you know, the Sudamericano tournament, and put himself in the spotlight. It's not like, for example, Luciano Rodriguez did a year ago or De La Cruz did 6 or 7 years ago. But even though that's the case, he earned a move to Eintracht Frankfurt, never really got playing there, was loaned out many times in Poland, in Germany. And after doing well in Germany's second division, he earned a move to Schalke, a huge club, but they were also playing in the second division back then. He helped them back to the Bundesliga. And after that, after his first season in the Bundesliga, in which he was also got some injuries, he earned a move to Braga. And now in his first season at Braga, he's done exceptionally well. He's proven himself in many positions across the midfield. Scored some big goals, some beautiful goals. Chips in with assists. Is an incredibly hardworking midfielder as well. So this is a player who, step by step, he's developed. You know, he's made this upward trajectory in the last few years. Then you have Vecino. Vecino, when he came into the Uruguay national team in 2016, I think it was. He was a really welcome surprise. He was more capable on the ball than the other midfielders were before him, and he kind of broke the old habits of Uruguay midfielders, or the old profile of Uruguay midfielders, and he paved the way basically for the likes of Bentancur, Valverde, and Torreira, who are more of a ball playing midfielders, are way more competent in passing the ball, but even though he did well in this initial period and was a regular starter and one of the most important players for Tavares for sure, in the last few years, I would even say since 2019, he's put on so many incredibly abysmal performances for Uruguay. The amount of good performances, you know, like 7s, 8s for the Uruguay shirt I've seen from him in the last 4 years, I'm pretty sure I cannot count him on one hand. And this is a player who is at the wrong side of 30, which in football terms speaking, obviously, he's not got a regular starting spot for Lazio this season. He's chipped in with some goals, which is great, but he's only started 6 or 7 games in Serie A this season. So taking all this into account, when you have a player in the upward trajectory who is now breaking through at a club which is one of the biggest clubs. I mean, besides the big three, he's the biggest club in Portugal, Braga, played in the Champions League this season. And you have a player like Vecino who's losing prominence, losing footing in on the European scene. It's an easy decision to make for me, and that's why Salazar should be in there, in my opinion. Moving on to the strikers. So yeah, I mean Darwin obviously is there. Darwin, I mean, that's not a debate. He's gonna be leading our line. Then we have Suarez. For me, Suarez should be there. I'm not saying he should be there to start games. Absolutely not. Probably a year or two ago, after the World Cup, I was thinking, yeah, this is it. You know, it's fine. Okay, it's regretful how it ended. You know, we all will want to see Suarez have a lead or help Uruguay into a deep run into the tournament in Qatar, but it didn't happen. But it's over now. Okay, it's the way it is. You know, not every story has a fairy tale ending. Then what happened, obviously, is he went to Grêmio, did really well. I mean, the second half of the season, especially in the Brasileiro, was awarded the best player in the Brasileiro. Came to Inter Miami, started once again by scoring goals, and it's not just that, you know. It's not just that he keeps scoring, which obviously it's not a surprise knowing who Suarez is, and also knowing that the MLS especially is not a great league, but the reason why I've picked him, I've called him up, you know, as the imaginary Uruguay manager, I've called him up, is that when you look at the other options, when you look at Satriano, when you look at Canario Alvarez, when you look at Matias Arezzo, when you look at Thiago Borbas, all talented young Uruguayan strikers, have they really, in the last 2 years, last 12 months, made a case for themselves that they should be there, no questions asked? They're knocking on the door so heavily that there's no way denying them. No, that's not the case. Satriano, people hype about him incredibly to an incredible extent, and I find that quite frustrating because it's a wrong impression. Has he done well in the last few months? Yeah, he's done better. Absolutely, he's done better than he started off the season with. You have to realize, for Empoli last season, he scored 1 or 2 goals all season. And I know that Satriano is not just goals. He's a player that is on a really good technical level. His overall play is really good. But when you score 1 goal for Empoli last season and you score 6, 7 goals for Stade Brestois this season, who have qualified for the Champions League, you cannot talk about a great season, about a fantastic season, which some people are claiming it to be, which frustrates me because I like to be accurate, like to be objective, and that is just being chauvinistic and also misleading people into believing that, yeah, it's amazing. Because not everybody is watching France football. I mean, myself included, but obviously I try to be informed. And the what I've heard and what I've seen is that, yeah, he's done better in this last few weeks and months, but it's not like he is setting the world on fire, setting the world alight. I think that's the right impression or expression. So yeah, Suarez for me is there mainly due to his own still incredibly goal-scoring talent, but also, like I said, due to other options not performing to the highest standards, which obviously you need to have for Uruguay national team. The other one, Federico Viñas, unlike Suarez, who I believe is more of an impact sub. I mean, perhaps he can start against Panama or Bolivia, but when we talk about the big games, Suarez for me is not a player who can bring the same energy, the same high pressure, the same physical capabilities like Darwin can. Suarez for me is an impact sub. Viñas, though, he can do that, and he's not as good as Darwin. Okay, that's true, but he's also, we have to realize, the joint top scorer in Mexico, which is nice. I mean, Mexican league is obviously one of the best leagues in the Americas. So that's good. He scored on his, I think it's second appearance for Uruguay against Ivory Coast last March. But besides that, he's a player that, if Darwin is suspended or injured, he can bring this energy, this pressure, these physical capabilities that Darwin can. He can run the channels. He can get into duels, get physical. He can hold off 2 defenders, keep them busy, get other people into play. This is what he can offer. And that's important. And that's also why I think Bielsa will call him up for sure. So I think these are the two strikers. Wingers, Facundo Pellistri and Araujo, I think they will be the starting wingers. Pellistri, you can argue, yeah, what has he done, or has he been to the same level as he displayed in these four qualifiers in the 2022 World Cup qualifying closing games? No, he hasn't. But still, when you look at the winger options, a bit like the striker options, you also have to look at what others are doing. And when you look at the competition, there are not players that are making it very hard for Bielsa to make the decisions. Uruguay wingers are probably, when it comes to the team, when you dissect them and when you categorize them, obviously in terms of positions, Uruguay wingers are probably the most underperforming at the moment. But okay, Pelistri's in, Araujo was in. Araujo did really well in the qualifiers. I think we all like him. Yeah, and Bielsa obviously likes him a lot. Then when you look at the backup options, or perhaps they will start, who knows? Augusto Canobio for me should be there. Started off really well for Atlético Paranaense in Brazil this year. So for me, that's why he's there. And Luciano Rodriguez, for me, absolutely should be there. Can play across the front line, can get a goal from almost nowhere, has a really good free kick, is physical, quick, can take on people one-on-one. He's Uruguay's biggest under 22 talent. He's Uruguay's biggest talent at the moment. Biggest youngster, most promising youngster. And yeah, for me, he should be there, no doubt. Then we move on to the unlucky to miss out. Cavani, yeah, for sure, he's unlucky to miss out. For me, it was hard. I like Cavani a lot. He's one of my personal favorite players. But I made the decision based on the way he performed for Uruguay in the last 3 years, the 21 Copa, the 22 World Cup, which I thought it was underwhelming. And it's true that he recovered his form for Boca in the last few months. But I think 3 strikers is enough. Certainly when you have Luciano Rodriguez as one of the other options on the wing who could play as a striker. So that's why he just missed out. And it's regretful. It's unfortunate and kind of sad, to be honest, if I'm thinking about it, because this is a player like Suarez who we have followed and loved and adored for 20 years. But for me, he just misses out. Facundo Torres, I mean, among the wingers that were considered, like Brian Ocampo, Brian Rodriguez, for example, Diego Rossi, although he's more of an inside forward for me. Torres is another one who was considered, but I think it's certainly his season so far for Orlando City hasn't been great. So that's one of the most important determining factors that I've taken into account. So that's why he's not there. Joaquin Piqueres just misses out. I think Fina has the edge. Piqueres is a good player. I really do. I hopefully he makes a move to Europe soon, because I think that will be good for his career. Gaston Alvarez and Bueno, the center backs. I mean, Alvarez, perhaps if we are talking 6 months ago, I would have taken him, but he's lost a little bit of prominence in the Getafe side lately. And Bueno, he's been adapting to the Premier League, and fortunately, how do you say? Fortunately, he has been able to get more playing minutes lately for Wolverhampton Wanderers. But for me, it's a bit too early still. Certainly, when you have Cáceres back fit, Coates, who I believe should be there, he just misses out for me. But he's one for the future, like Alvarez, obviously, who can be part of the Uruguay team. I mean, we have many young defenders coming through, central defenders, Boselli, Facundo Gonzalez, Santiago Moreno. So many options, and it will be interesting to see how they develop. Anyway, these are my 26 names. Hopefully you like them. You probably will not like all of them. You probably will disagree with some. Hopefully not too many. But like I said, let me know your opinion. Please leave your thoughts. Leave your 26 names. And bring up your arguments for example, for why you maybe would not like Suarez to be there, or you would not like Coates to be there, and bring up the names you would want instead. I would love that. Please also leave a like to on the video. Let's get 10 likes. That would be great. And subscribe if you want to see more of this, and if you want to be part of the live streams that are upcoming. I will. I'm probably gonna. I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna live stream the Copa America games, because for me the group games, all of them, and also the knockout games, if we go through, obviously, they're all like at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So I need company. Otherwise, I'm not gonna sleep. I know that, but still, I need some company to keep me awake, basically, because it's gonna be a tough task. But obviously, I mean, I want to watch Uruguay lift the Copa, which I absolutely do believe we can with these 26 names. But even if Bielsa, which he obviously will, because some names on here he will not choose, I believe, um, which we also will with Bielsa squad. Because the team, I mean, we have so many players that can make a difference, that are, in terms of the competition, are up there with the best of the competition. We have defensively, we have two of the, when they are fit, when they are performing, two of the best central defenders around. We have Valverde, who is among the best midfielders in world football. Darwin, on his day, is an incredibly dangerous player for Liverpool. Unfortunately, the latter end of his season has not been great, but still, at Darwin, he can decide a game against any defense. We've seen this. We've seen it at La Bombonera. His goal, sinking the world champions. So yeah, I got full confidence. Hopefully you do as well. So I'm looking forward to spending more time with you around the Copa, watching the games, giving our opinions. If you want to come on, if you want to be part of the live streams, let me know. Drop me a direct message on Twitter and Uruguayan Heroes, or even let me know in the comments. It's all good. And yeah, I'll hear from you, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.